Dear compatriots, this decision was not taken lightly and results from a deep reflection and a thorough assessment. It responds to a prior commitment to the Chadian people. Through my project of society, I have put into practice the promise of building reciprocal and balanced relations with our brotherly country in a spirit of independence and respect for the sovereignty of the states. As a sovereign state, strong in its 66 years of march since the proclamation of the Republic, Chad is fully entitled and even obliged to freely define its international relations, to choose the forms of cooperation it wishes to have, and to conduct its policy of defense according to its priorities. We have also decided to put an end to this military cooperation to reorient our partnership with France on areas that will have a positive impact on the daily lives of our respective populations.
Good morning, good evening, world, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for joining my YouTube space. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. We are doing it the African way every day, every time. And when we talk about African way, we are discussing about Chad today. Chad has taken a bold step to say no to France, to distance themselves from France. Now, it's a big win for Mali, it's a big win for Niger, it's a big win for Burkina Faso, a big win for Ibrahim Traore, because Ibrahim Traore has an agenda for Africa. Ibrahim Traore, the Mali president and Niger president, they have an agenda for Africa, and the agenda is Africa for Africans. The agenda is to liberate Africa from neo-colonization, and we have this force, we have this wave of anti-neo-colonization, and Chad has joined hands and say, you know what, let's go for new friends. Let's do away with this former colonizer. Once they have tasted the power, don't tell me France will leave you. France was there, colonized these countries, and you want to say that they will change? No, they can't change. They will keep on exploiting these countries, keep on killing, keep on doing all damages, because they once tested it and it's very hard for them to live. Even if they are saying that they have given power to you, you are free. No. That's where we have this neo-colonization. And we are saying anti-neo-colonization. We are saying Africa for Africans. Let's listen to this video of our president of Chad, Mahamat, talking about distancing himself from France and why and the reasons. And then we come back again and talk about this.
It is with great conviction and great responsibility that I address you this evening. Following the announcement of the decision taken by the government of the Republic of Chad concerning the breach of the military cooperation agreement between our country and France. Indeed, for several decades, Chad and France have maintained cooperation in several sectors, especially in the military domain. This breach concerns only the military cooperation agreement in its current configuration. This agreement had been signed at another time with other actors on both sides and in a different context. It aimed to meet the common challenges of another national, regional, and international framework. However, over time, this agreement has become obsolete, completely obsolete. It no longer corresponds to the geopolitical and strategic realities of our time, nor to our legitimate expectations in terms of the full expression of our sovereignty. In the same way, it brings us no real added value on the military ground when we face various and serious challenges, notably attacks of terrorist dimensions,
Des défis sécuritaires nationaux et régionaux,
national and regional security challenges
nos forces de défense et de sécurité
in front of which our forces of defense and security have been illustrated by a never-denied valor
détermination sans
and an indisputable determination.
elles ont démontré et prouvé
They have demonstrated, proven, every time this is necessary,
et partout elles ont été déployées
and everywhere they have been deployed,
plus que capables de défendre l'intégrité
that they are more than capable of defending the integrity of our territory
de nos citoyens, voire contribuer
and ensuring the security of our citizens, as well as contributing effectively to the fight against terrorism on a regional scale.
elles sont appelées à intégrer la nouvelle
Now, they are called upon to integrate the new gift from the rupture of this over-the-year agreement,
qui dans les faits concrets ne change
which in concrete terms does not change anything at all.
au contraire. La rupture de cet accord
On the contrary, the rupture of this agreement
niveau de nos forces de défense et de sécurité, plus d'engagement
must generate, at the level of our forces of defense and security, more commitment and more concentration to better defend the integrity of Chad and ensure the security of its citizens.
chers compatriotes, hommes de médias. Cette
Dear compatriots,
décision n'a pas été prise de manière légère.
this decision was not taken lightly
Une réflexion approfondie
and results from a deep reflection and a thorough assessment.
minutieuse et répond à un engagement
It responds to a prior commitment to the Chadian people.
à travers mon projet de société,
Through my project of society,
la promesse de bâtir des
I have put into practice the promise of building reciprocal
avec les pays frères et amis
and balanced relations with our brotherly country in a spirit of independence and respect for the sovereignty of the states.
en tant qu'État souverain.
As a sovereign state,
De ces 66 ans de marche depuis la proclamation
strong in its 66 years of march since the proclamation of the Republic,
et même dans l'obligation
Chad is fully entitled and even obliged to freely define its international relations,
de choisir les formes de coopération qu'il souhaite
to choose the forms of cooperation it wishes to have,
en fonction de ses priorités.
and to conduct its policy of defense according to its priorities.
À cette coopération militaire pour
We have also decided to put an end to this military cooperation
sur des domaines qui auront plus d'impact positif
to reorient our partnership with France
de nos populations respectives.
on areas that will have a positive impact on the daily lives of our respective populations.
Plusieurs facteurs parmi lesquels je cite
In addition, this decision is based on several factors,
la présence militaire
among which I cite the absence of reciprocity.
réciproque. Le Tchad ne doit plus accepter aux autres
The French military presence in Chad is not based on a reciprocal basis.
les autres. C'est le sacré principe
Chad must no longer accept others. What is not accepted by others is the sacred principle of reciprocity. There is a need for reparation.
le Tchad de réparer,
It is now essential for Chad to repair the imperfections in its international relations,
choisir en toute indépendance les formes
to choose in all independence the forms and partners of its international cooperation according to its national priorities,
renforcement de nos capacités.
strengthening our capacities.
Cette rupture
This structure is part of our will to build a Chadian army
vient en face avec toutes ses
with all its responsibilities,
plus autonomes
more autonomous, more committed,
dans l'accomplissement de sa mission
and more responsible in accomplishing its regal mission of defense of the country.
hommes des médias.
My dear compatriots, men of the media, I would like to point out,
Lever toute ambiguïté.
to remove any ambiguity,
Cette rupture ne constitue en aucun cas
that this decision of repatriation does not constitute in any case
ni une remise en question de nos
a
relations.
rejection of international cooperation
Nous restons ouverts
or a question of our diplomatic relations with France.
avec l'ensemble de nos partenaires
We remain open to constructive exchanges with all our partners, including France.
dans le but d'établir de nouveaux cadres
And this is in order to establish new frameworks of cooperation
universels qui régissent les relations.
based on universal principles that resist international relations.
Nous réaffirmons notre ferme
In addition, we reaffirm our firm commitment to continue the fight against terrorism
et à œuvrer pour contribuer à la sécurité régionale
and will strive to contribute to regional security
toutes les nations
in close collaboration with our neighboring countries and all the nations that share these concerns.
continuera de jouer tout
Chad will continue to play its role and to occupy its place in the initiatives of strengthening peace and security
sécurité sur le continent africain,
on the African continent in particular
travers le monde en général.
and throughout the world in general.
Notre priorité absolue reste la
However, our absolute priority remains the protection of our people and our territory.
Je vous invite, mesdames, messieurs,
I invite you, ladies and gentlemen,
dans son contexte approprié,
to take this decision in its appropriate context.
de repenser nos relations internationales
It is about strengthening our sovereignty, to rethink our international relations,
tant au Tchad qu'au sein de notre région.
and to assume our responsibility in building a sustainable peace, both in Chad and within our region.
De respect mutuel.
We will continue to work with all our partners in the spirit of mutual respect
Et à accompagner le Tchad dans la consolidation de ses capacités de défense.
We call on our allies to support our approach
Pour conclure, le gouvernement est instruit
and to support Chad in consolidating its capacity
en prenant attache
for defense and security.
française. Pour finir, mesdames, messieurs les journalistes,
To conclude, the government is instructed to proceed with the implementation of these decisions
la défense avec la France s'inscrit dans le cadre d'une
by working closely with the French party.
de nos priorités stratégiques. Le Tchad
To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, dear journalists, dear compatriots, this rupture of the defense agreement with France is part of a necessary reevaluation of our strategic priorities. Chad is not at all in a logic of replacing one power with another, even less in an approach of change of leaders.
notre pays croit avec foi
Our country strongly believes in its capacity to defend its integrity
assurer la sécurité de ses citoyens et l'aide.
and to ensure the security of its citizens and their well-being.
Donc,
This decision is therefore a sovereign act, a well-thought-out act, a fully assumed act,
entièrement assumé
aimed at strengthening our national independence
l'indépendance nationale et répond
and at responding to a strong commitment to the people of Chad.
au peuple tchadien. Je vous invite donc,
I therefore invite you to convey this message
national et international,
to the national and international community in a spirit of patriotism and professionalism.
que Dieu vous bénisse.
May God bless you. May God bless Chad.
Pays de tout monde.
Welcome back. Now, it's a win. We are saying it's a win for the three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, but it's a win for Africa because we are fighting anti-neocolonization, we are fighting imperialism, we are fighting neocolonization, and we want our Africa back. And we are out here asking why other presidents are not doing or are not joining Sahel region, are not joining Traore, are not joining Mali president, are not joining Niger president in saving Africa. Because what these guys are doing, what these three militaries or three captains are doing, they are liberating Africa in a way. And this is what Muammar Gaddafi was wanted to do. This is what Sankara wanted to do. This, and they did not have the opportunity to do that because they were terminated. Now, France has been in the middle of all these issues that's going on in the Western countries. France is in the middle of exploitation of these countries. France is in the middle of neocolonization. France is in the middle of all disaster that is happening in the West Africa. You cannot name any disaster in West Africa without naming France. Okay? Now, recently, Chad took bold steps of distancing themselves from France. And I'm saying bold steps because for you to distance yourself from this country or this state that has been colonizing you for more than 100 years, I can say that, for more and more years, it takes bold step for you not to fear being taken out, for you not to fear, being killed, for you not to fear anything and take these bold steps. I call it bold because it needs someone who has balls. It needs someone who wants change for his country. Chad's decision to expel France, it was a decision that was driven by several factors related to the growing of anti-French settlement in the region of Sahel and the desire for greater independence in foreign affairs. Okay? For example, Many African countries right now, many African countries, including Chad, have increasingly viewed France's long-standing military presence in the Sahel region as a form of neo-colonization. Because what is France military doing in Sahel? What are they protecting? They are protecting their own agenda. They are protecting their materials. They are protecting what they are stealing from us. Because you cannot tell me France is keeping peace in Sahel. We have seen a lot of chaos in Sahel. Comes days, comes months, years, and France is there as the military, and things are not changing. So it's a way of neo-colonization to do away with the barracks or with these military bases in their countries, so that they can have that peace, or they can have that freedom of making their own decision and protecting their own people. And that's why you find them, they are interacting, or they are finding new friends like Russia, because Russia are not too deep into like what France is doing. Because the French military in these countries saying that they are doing counter-terrorism operation has been criticized for not addressing the security challenges in the region and for its interference in local politics. Now, instead of doing what they are saying, counter-terrorism, they are interfering into local politics, interfering in things in local affairs. Another thing why Chad has decided to distance themselves from France is the growing influence of Russia and other powers like China. Russia is gaining more influence in Western countries or West African countries or Africa at large. See Ibrahim Traore with Russia. Nigerians, when they were protesting, the youths were carrying Russian flags saying that we need Russia here. We don't need France anymore. In recent years, it's been a trend. There's been a rising influence of Russia, particularly through the Wana group, I can say that, in part of Africa. Now, Chad, like other nations, may have seen France's involvement in Africa as outdated and instead sought to find a new friend in Russia. And because Russia is looking like a good friend, that's why they are saying, you know what? No to this France. What France is doing is just doing what the colonial system, they are imposing colonial system on them. Another thing why Chad has decided to distance themselves from France is the President Mahamat faced challenges in consolidating power since the death of his father. By expelling France's ambassador, he could have been signaling his intention to assert national sovereignty and rally support from his people, particularly the younger generation who has been critical of French influence. Now, French influence has been critically disturbing or influencing the younger generation in Africa. They are the cause of this lack of opportunities, job, because they know very well when the younger generation has grown balls, it will take them time to take over, or they will, they'll just have to move out. So they don't want the younger generation to grow balls. Each and every country in Africa, they are in fear of younger generation, the Gen Z. Chad move also aligns with similar action of other Sahel countries like Mali and Burkina Faso, where governments have sought to distance themselves from France after military coups and growing with French policies in the region. Okay. This expulsion is part of a broader shift of African geopolitics, where countries are seeking more autonomy in their foreign relations and pushing back against former colonial powers like France. Now, colonial powers like France are here in Africa or on these countries just to exploit. That's all I can say. They came as a colony, they colonized the countries, and they said they have gone back. They have left freedom of the country. But they did it once, and they saw it's good. They enjoyed the fruits of colonization. They enjoyed. So they cannot leave that easily. They will do everything to be in power, whether indirect, in any way, by creating chaos, by killing people, by any means to be in control of the countries. That's why you see British still have the control here in Kenya. Once they tested the power of colonization, you can't tell me that they have left you alone to control or to have the freedom of not being colonized. That's why you have something called neo-colonization. And when Chad or Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger distance themselves from France, most of African leaders are not supporting. They don't talk about it. And even if they are supporting, they are not supporting it openly because they fear their colonizer. They fear their master. It's for you to wake up and say no. What will you do? 1 country, 2 countries, 3, 4, 5, 10 countries saying no to this imperialism, to this colonization, to this supremacy. It will be done. But because other leaders are looking their stomachs, they are not fit for change. They don't want change for their countries. They are still there eating with the master, making the master happy, applying oil to the master's back. It's awkward when you see your countries going down, down, and down, and yet you cannot do anything. The people you call the people of your tribe, you are speaking one language, you have the same color, but you can't do something for them. You can't make bold decision. We blame white people so much. It's time for ending these blame games that who has done this and this has been done by this. No, it's time to blame ourselves, our own leaders, who they fear making bold decisions. They fear saying no. They fear saying, because they fear that they will lack food on their table. It's high time for our leaders to wake up. It's high time for our leaders to say no. It just takes a no. And to go forward, look for good friends. Go for China. Go for Russia. Friends who are there not to exploit you, but to do legit business with you. I can say China are doing business. Do this, we do this. I remember a time when France President Macron was in Burkina Faso before the coming of Ibrahim Traore, when the president laughed in the face of the president, saying that you guys, you don't have electricity, it's not my problem. As a former colonizer, it's your problem. And yet they know they are the one who are sabotaging economic growth on our countries. They are the one who are sabotaging change in our countries. So it's high time for African leaders to wake up and do change. It's high time to stop blaming the white people and start blaming ourselves, our tribes, our people, our presidents, our leaders. And they are the one who are causing these things. What does it take for this Mahamat to say no? Just to walk up and say no to France. Because France have really, really done damages to our countries. And when we give them another chance, we all gonna die in the hands of France, in the hands of a colonizer, in the hands of the British, in the hands of all these people who are the supremacy. So it's time for change, and salute to Chad President Mahamat for following the steps of Ibrahim Traore and Mali and Niger and joining hands so that to make Sahel great. These other parts of the countries like South and West and North, when they see that this thing is working, maybe they're gonna join hands. But for now, they are still sleeping. But we need them. We need the youths of these countries to wake up. We need the youths of Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda to wake up and say, we need change. We need to say no to neo-colonization. That's the only way we can liberate our Africa and we can make Africa great again. What do you have to say about Chad President Mahamat? Tell me in the comment section. Until next episode, peace be with you.